I'm here to give you hope. Now, I know if you're a Conservative, if you're a Liberal, you'd be feeling pretty flat right now. The Liberals are now out of power in every state and territory on the mainland, and the left is jeering that they're out of touch. You are out of touch. And the Murdoch media, like Sky News, well, we're all out of touch as well. In fact, we're evil. And the media left is, of course, loving all this. Here is the Nine newspaper columnist Osman Faruqi last night on the ABC's Q&A.
The problem for Greg and the Liberals is that the base of the Liberal Party are full of so many weird freaks. They spend their time watching Fox News and Sky News After Dark, and they don't understand that normal Australians don't agree with them on this. They care about the things we've been talking about. They care about climate, housing affordability. They care about what young people are going to be dealing with for the next few decades. And instead they've imported this reactionary culture war.
Now, what the ABC, of course, didn't tell you about Osman Faruqi is that he's a former candidate for the Greens Party. His mother is a senator for the Greens, one of its most extreme. And if you really want to demonise other Australians as freaks pushing weird culture wars, I would start with the Greens. But more importantly, we've seen all of this jeering before and can learn something from it. You might recall, for instance, how John Howard, as opposition leader, was written off as a joke. Mr 18%. Why does he bother? Now, Howard had the last laugh. He actually went on to win 4 elections. But a better example is from when Kevin Rudd became Prime Minister, leading Labor to victory 16 years ago. We saw then exactly what we're seeing now. For the first year, Rudd could do no wrong, or so it seemed from the media. His Labor government was soon much more popular than even Anthony Albanese's Labor government is today. A massive 58% to the Liberals' 42% in the polls. And Rudd himself was infinitely more popular than even Albanese today. An astonishing 77% of voters said they'd prefer Rudd as Prime Minister, compared to just 7% for the then Liberal leader Brendan Nelson. The Liberals were in such a panic that they dumped Nelson and made Malcolm Turnbull leader instead. Now, Turnbull said then, as he does today, the Liberals had to go left to survive. They had to agree to Rudd's global warming policies. But what a flop. Turnbull lost poll after poll and soon looked totally unelectable. But meanwhile, the ABC, back then too, was saying the Liberals, they just had to stop listening to the terrible Murdoch media. In fact, ABC host John Fain back then suggested to my then editor, maybe you should get rid of me. Suggested on air the Murdoch media dump all of its Conservatives and just get with the vibe. Fain said, have things moved on? And have some of the staples of the media in the Howard era worn out their usefulness as we enter a Rudd era? You have some notorious ones of your own, he told my editor, meaning me. So you're not going through a cleansing process? Like ethnic cleansing, I guess. But how things changed. 2.5 years after Rudd's election triumph, the Liberals changed leaders again, dumped hopeless Turnbull and picked Tony Abbott, who did exactly the opposite of what the media left and Turnbull said. Now, those journalists were saying the Liberals had to get with the times, back Kevin Rudd's global warming schemes, or they'd be toast, just like the media says that today. Liberals are dinosaurs for not backing Albanese's latest global warming scheme. And just in fact, like fashionable pollsters now say that the Liberals are finished if they also don't back Labor's voice to Parliament tomorrow. No, said Abbott, no to the global warming hysteria. Now, how the media left raged back then, how Malcolm Turnbull raged at the Liberals, like he still does. He said Abbott's climate change stand was bullshit, pardon the language. But guess what? It worked. Abbott nearly pulled off a shock victory in his first election as leader, forcing Labor into minority government, relying on the Independents and Greens to get anything done. And 3 years later, Abbott led the Liberals to a landslide win, promising things the media left said were terrible, evil, impossible, laughable, but which worked.
In 3 years' time, the carbon tax will be gone, the boats will be stopped.
In fact, the Liberals went on to win 3 elections in a row after being told to give in, stop listening to the Murdoch media, get with the times and turn left. So the lesson: define what you stand for and fight for it. Ignore the media left, ignore the heckling and the mocking and the jeering, the abuse. Your day will come if you fight hard enough for it.